Good afternoon all, or Sawasdee Cup because we're in Thailand. My name is Dwight Willis. I am CEO of a online remittance company based in Chiang Mai, Thailand called Smart Global. Just a little bit of background about myself before we start this presentation, just to show I have a little bit of expertise in this space. I've been in the banking industry for probably 25, 30 years, working in major roles in major banks like Standard Chartered in Singapore, London, etc. And for the last 4 years, I've been based in Chiang Mai in Thailand, where my company, Smart Global, is headquartered. Why did I mention Chiang Mai? I think for Thailand, it's an interesting nexus of the topic I'm going to talk about. On a daily basis, where if you're living in Bangkok or you're living in Chiang Mai, you're interacting with the formal and informal migration sectors. And also in Chiang Mai, where as the crow flies, we're about 150 kilometres from Myanmar, we're about 200 kilometres from Laos, and we're a little bit further from Cambodia, about 700 or 800 kilometres. So the majority of migrants that we would see in Chiang Mai coming from Myanmar and Laos. So before I start the presentation, one word of warning. Statistics, because we are dealing with the informal and the irregular sectors here when we talk about migration and remittances, some of the statistics I'm going to put up have been extrapolated from studies by the United Nations or the ILO or the World Bank, but also from the Thai government and the surrounding countries' governments. So some of the figures may be debatable, and I'll highlight some examples as we go through. So the first thing to ask is, well, who are the migrants that are working in Thailand and where do they come from? So, according to official statistics, and this varies, there's roughly about 3.9 million official migrants who are working in Thailand today. The vast majority of those migrants come from Myanmar, 1.92 million of them, and then roughly the same amount from Cambodia and Laos. Of course, there's much smaller migrant populations like myself from Australia, but the vast majority are from the surrounding countries. When you add in what's called the informal sector, then the numbers become a lot more difficult to prove, but the numbers become a lot larger. Where do these migrants work? Well, typically the migrants would work in low-skilled jobs, manual labour, the fishing industry being a classic example, domestic workers, construction, agriculture, and factories in and around Bangkok and the Eastern Seaboard in particular. So how much value or worth is the migrant population to the Thai and the surrounding country economies? According to estimates, it's anywhere from 5 to 7% of the Thai GDP derives from migrant labour. Approximately 7, 8, maybe 10%, depending on how you count the informal sector, of the Thai working population are migrants. So it's a significant number. Then, if you look at the official figures for remittances that are sent back home from Thailand to Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, you see kind of roughly the same breakdown as before with the migrant numbers, with the largest percentage of the flow going to Myanmar, and then smaller percentages of the flow going to Cambodia and Laos. With something that was deeply troubling me before I came to this presentation was, I put up the 2015 statistics from the World Bank bilateral remittance website. I looked at 2016 statistics, And the Myanmar number had changed from $1.7 billion to $360 million. So it was troubling me which figure's right. And I think a lot of the explanation can come from the fact that there is, and what I'll talk about, a very large informal remittance sector that operates today, so that the figures are difficult to calculate. The UN published an important study last year on remittances from Thailand to the surrounding countries. And depending on the channel, but particularly the Thailand-Myanmar channel, the UN estimated that the figures could be underrepresented by 35 to 75%. So if you add 35 to 75%, you're getting another billion and a half on top of those figures. So it's a fairly significant part of the Thai economy. So what are the major payout channels? How are people moving money from Thailand to Myanmar, Cambodia and Laos? Apologies to the bankers in the room, but the majority of it's not flowing through the Thai banks. The majority of it's not flowing through a Western Union or a MoneyGram, let alone an Alibaba or a WeChat that we heard about in the previous presentation. Today, the majority of the flow happens through Undi Pawala, agent-based transfers, particularly popular in Myanmar, Thailand-Myanmar market, where agents are making, people are giving money to agents in Thailand, and then their counterparts in the surrounding countries are making immediate payments to the recipients. The second most popular method, what I like to call the suitcase method, is the method of my Mayor in Chiang Mai, my part-time domestic worker at home. She has an auntie who lives at Mae Sai on the Thai-Myanmar border. Don't know if it's a real auntie or not. And her auntie is receiving lots of payments into her Thai bank account. She's then collecting that money, withdrawing it at the branch, putting it in a suitcase, and then walking it across the border into Myanmar and giving it to an agent in Myanmar who will disperse the payments out across many thousands of agents that exist in Myanmar. So, again, troubling statistics here, and again based on case studies, small case studies. Hundi, the first case, could be anywhere from 20 to 58%, depending on the market, of the total flow from Thailand to Myanmar, Cambodia and Laos happening through Hundi. Through the suitcase, anywhere from 20 to 39%, I've read. And then, unfortunately, our friends in the room, again, through limited studies, and you guys will know better than me, anywhere from 10 to 20% of the flow is happening through formal banking channels. I'm not getting many I don't agree with that look, so the statistic must be fairly right. So who's receiving the money in Myanmar? What does a typical recipient look like? A typical recipient is a lady who lives in a rural area, who's middle-aged, who has 1 or 2 children working in Thailand. 60% of the remittance receivers are women, and 75% of them live in rural areas. The majority of the funds that they receive are spent on daily expenses, so they're receiving cash and then they're paying out daily expenses to pay bills, buy groceries, etc. And then other secondary expenses like education. But what's definitely not happening is the build-up of any financial assets to any great degree. Why is this? Why is there not being a build-up in financial assets? How many people have been to rural Laos, Cambodia or Myanmar? few. Have you seen many banks, many ATMs in rural countryside? Maybe a bank in each major town, but the majority of the people that are receiving money are living in locations where there just aren't banking facilities. These days, there's definitely a cell phone tower, there's definitely a smartphone agent, they've definitely got access to a smartphone. But there is no formal, very limited formal access to financial services at this moment. So there's an opportunity here. As we heard previous presentation, FinTech, a great opportunity for FinTech players, whether they're small or whether they're large. I saw our friend from PayPay here earlier today, a new emerging digital wallet play in Cambodia, who are delivering tailored products for remittance recipients, but also for the senders of remittances. So there is a large role here to play for digital wallets, and I'll particularly focus on the digital wallet part of the equation. The first thing that the studies always show is that it has to be more than just a payment solution in order for a digital wallet to be attractive in an unbanked society, in a rural economy. It has to do more than just payments. If you're just doing payments, you're competing against cash. And cash in these economies is cheap to move. Maybe it's not the most effective, convenient, secure way, but it is cheap to move. And so you've got to have a product that is cheap, but you've also got to have a product that offers other solutions. Those other solutions could include things like being able to pay bills, being able to pay your electricity bill or your water bill, micro-insurance. Very important that products are developed that are applicable for recipients of remittances. Can't be big first world health insurance policies, but there needs to be policies tailored to those geographies and countries. Microloans. Generally, it's small, unsecured loans that will help them start small businesses, and then information, access to commodities and prices to help them get access to information about their purchases. So the key features required of a digital wallet: reduced cost, transparent pricing, products tailored to the local market, as I just mentioned, ability to do real trading transfers, not the Vietnam example, banks close at 5:30, must do it 24/7, and easily accessible through 4G networks and smartphones, 3G, 4G networks. However, it also must crack another couple of problems in these markets. You need to have a large agent network, pay in and pay out. People in Thailand are earning cash. They're typically scared of walking into a Thai bank. They don't speak the language. They want to speak to an agent who speaks their language, so you need a large agent collection network in Thailand, and you need a large agent payout network in those countries, surrounding countries. Another one more difficult to crack is KYC that is aligned to the risk of this business. If you're talking about the formal sector, we're talking about people who have employment contracts and the ability and proof to live here, so that's fairly easy, but the informal sector becomes a lot more difficult when they don't have formal employment contracts, but they're earning money here. And you need to give them incentives to use formal channels. That can be anything from maybe playing lottery services, providing social services, providing access to other services. All in all, the digital wallet does give them the ability to start to build financial assets, to store money, to start a small business, to buy higher value agricultural products and services, building, renovating farms, houses, buying white goods, buying motorcycles, but all in all, building financial wealth. And An important piece, and I'll quickly go through this, we've got a couple of minutes to go, is financial inclusion education. This is critical. You're dealing with a population that typically hasn't had access to the formal financial sector, doesn't know what a bank account is, doesn't know what a loan is, doesn't know what microinsurance or microfinance is. So you need to improve the financial literacy. You need to build trust. They need to trust you. Whenever we launch a new product, the first set of questions that come out are, why should I trust you? Who are you? And so it's important that you build trust with your customer base. You need to improve awareness about products and alternatives, and make it easily accessible and tailored to them, particularly in their own local language. People like to discuss about money in local language. So, in summary, a quick trip through the remittance and migration market between Thailand and Cambodia, Laos and Myanmar. Hopefully what I've shown today is that remittances are economically important both to the host country and also to the receiving country, and also to the families, the migrants and the families themselves. It improves economic development in both parts. However, today there's a large informal and irregular sector, but fintech and the banks and the tech players have a role to play here to improve financial inclusion by providing digital wallet functionality that they need to be tailored to local market needs. And in order for the product to succeed, financial education and inclusion is crucial. Thank you.